Good morning, everyone, or whatever time you're watching this, but sun's just starting to come up here. Behind me is my future garage. Anybody that's watched the channel a little bit, I do have a 22 by 24 garage that I've been working out of for a long time, but now that we're doing auto repair and stuff here as my full-time career, as my business Turnkey LSX, it's not big enough. So we got this guy going in behind us. Let's give you a little rundown on what we got going on and try to get this out of the way before the concrete truck shows up this morning. Okay, so what we got here is our 32 by 40 garage. So our road's right here. I'm gonna have two doors on this side coming in. So it'll give me two bays, 32 feet deep, with a lift. Nothing in this bay, so we've got room to get the doors open. We're doing a bunch of wiring under the dash and everything. We're gonna have an office space up here. We have to have our handicap compliant bathroom, which I will get into that in a minute. And then we'll have some nice little storage area back here. So, like I said at the intro, currently we do have the 22 by 24 garage on the other side of the house over here, but it's just not enough space. I mean, my F-150 is a short box 4-door, and it's you know, I can get it in there, but there's not even really enough room to work. So, and that's not very long of a truck. I mean, there's a 4-door 8-foot box square body over there right now that's here for an LS swap, and I don't even know that I could get the bed in the garage and still have room to work. So this is pretty needed. So what we got going on here is we don't have much soil here. I think if I remember, well, yeah, here's the bedrock. So when we got out here and started measuring everything out, we dug, I knew there wasn't a ton of soil here. I guess I should probably start with that, but we got, when we started digging this, my brother took his father-in-law's little Daewoo excavator and dug the whole perimeter. We ran everything out with string line, painted the ground, so we got the perimeter of everything dug. Then came in here with Bobcat T320 and cut all the sod off. So we carried all the soil all back to our field, just kind of storing everything out there. So then we came in and started laying 3/4 minus gravel. I'm sure everybody's got a different name for it depending on where you are in the country, but yeah. So we have, hang on a second, how many? There's three tandem truckloads at 18 tons a truck. Plus I've got another 3 dump trailer loads. So there's 70 ton approximately of stone all together. Obviously this stuff we haven't used yet, and I had to use a little bit for my sidewalk on the front of the house, but our thought was I had to have a footer here here in the town of Clayton, New York. To do auto repair, I have to be a commercial business, and so because of that I have to follow all the commercial code and whatever else. So our local architect, I paid a bunch of money to have him design originally a stick-built garage, and kind of decided to change plans with that, and I'll get into that in a minute. But he had originally wrote out the footer to be 16 inches wide by 12 inches thick, if I remember right, 10 or 12 inches thick, I don't remember off the top of my head, with a 6-inch floor thickness, or maybe he had 5. So what we did, we decided that overkill wasn't going to hurt, and we scraped it right to the rock. That way we can't have any possible movement, and we're also not going to have any frost intrusion either, because the frost is going to come down to the rock, but the bedrock itself shouldn't ever freeze. So I am not putting foam down. This is just the vapor barrier that's down here. I have no intention of ever doing radiant in-floor heat. My dad's garage that I've probably maybe have seen in a couple other videos I've done, that has foam, it has PEX, and in 6 years we have yet to ever kick the floor on and finish the boiler system and stuff, and just ran it off forced air, and it's been totally fine. My existing garage I have now is only a 4-inch slab with no foam or anything under that, and that is sitting on grade, and even in the middle of winter that floor is not that cold. And with this, in theory, there shouldn't ever be any frost under any of it, with it being on the bedrock. And then we'll have to, once the foam boards are pulled off, we'll have to you know, put 2-inch foam board around the whole perimeter here. We shouldn't have any frost issues at all. Our local codes guy did recommend a radon vent in here, which to me is kind of a new thing because we have an 1880s house, and the thought of radon back then was probably along the lines of witchcraft. But so we got a radon vent in here, just a 3-inch T down here under the vapor barrier, which I forgot I gotta tape that here before concrete comes. But yeah, so anyways, that pretty much takes care of this. We got a tamper, we're tamping everything along, so this is very, very, very solid. In fact, when I dug last night for the radon vent, even just a pointed shovel digging in here in this stone was tough. This bay over here, we're going to use, you know, I'm gonna have a lift here. So we got a little bit of water down there right now, but we've got our 2 pits here where the base of the 2-post lift will go, that are 6 inches deep. They're 4 foot by 4 foot squares, and then we actually tied this one into the perimeter rebar, just since it was close. And I mean, this is going to be really ridiculous here. We're going to have 18-inch thick footer. Everything's all going to be tied into place, but it's certainly not going to move. So anyways, a couple things. I'm sure there's some people who are going to say, why aren't you going bigger? Well, you know what? I'm paying cash for this, and that's all I had for funds. You know, there's a lot of people that have said, oh, well, it's going to be a cute office. Where's the shop going? As soon as you guys want to throw 70 grand my way and we'll make this place bigger, let me know. But nobody's taking me up on that offer yet. So here we are. I did a bunch of homework too, as far as trying to figure out ideal size and then like cost per square footage and whatever. So I mentioned earlier that originally we were going to use a stick-built building, and we decided against that, just simply because I bought a kit through DIY Pole Barns out of Ohio. After talking to them, playing around on their website and stuff, and designing everything a bunch, I really kind of like the simplicity of the pole barn. As far as, I think for me, it'll be a lot easier for me to frame it up, compared to, you know, however many dozen 2x6s all down this wall and whatever else. And because it's one kit, like their installation package and stuff, it's designed to work, so it should be reasonably easy to insulate and whatever else. Yeah, so the pole barn kit, so this is September of 2025 when this is getting filmed. I paid $29,200 for the kit. So the kit is going to include our 32 by 40 building here. We're doing 12-foot walls, and some of you might argue, oh, that's not high enough. You want to put a lift in here, et cetera, et cetera. Well, this is in my front yard, and I don't want some massive towering structure out here in my front yard. Also, I did pay a little bit extra for scissor truss on the ends, scissor trusses. So the ceiling will actually have a little bit of a peak to it, so that our ceiling should be 14 foot 7 inches, because we got a 412 pitch on the roof, 212 pitch on the inside. And if I remember right, I think the math is 14 foot 6, 14 7, something like that. On the front edge here, we're going to have 2 insulated garage doors that are 12 foot wide, 10 foot tall. I was going to put 10 by 10s on here, and then a bunch of people are like, hey, you know, I know you don't plan on ever putting your camper in here or your boat or any of that type of stuff, but like my equipment trailer, my boat, my camper, everything is 8 foot 6 wide. And can you put in a 10 foot door? Absolutely. Is it fun? If you're not perfectly lined up and square, not exactly. So we went with 12-foot wide doors. So those were included in the kit, but not the openers. We also got all the wall insulation. I did not, however, get ceiling insulation. So all they offered was R19, and that wasn't going to be enough up here in Northern York. I'm in Canada, pretty much. I mean, I was in Canada yesterday for my anniversary of my wife. And so I did not opt for any ceiling insulation. I'm going to pay out of pocket for that for probably like, you know, attic cat blow in. And I'll just blow 16, 18 inches in the ceiling up there or whatever. So anyways, the kit didn't come with ceiling insulation, and I didn't get any interior metal or sheath or anything yet. We do have a metal supplier that's pretty reasonably priced locally. And honestly, I don't want to put metal on the inside. The metal is, in my opinion, is very loud. You know, I mean, I guess if you're, you know, hammering on something in here or running a grinder or whatever, it can echo really quite loudly. As dumb as that sounds, it sounds trivial, but it is kind of a little bit of a drawback. Plus, I also am I really don't want to run anything in conduit on the inside, and trying to set like regular wall outlet boxes and stuff with metal. Can you do it? Absolutely. Is it any fun? Not really, because now you got to map everything out so that you're falling in the valleys and you don't have any of your electrical, like your switches or anything on a rib. So I'd like to just put OSB up on the inside and paint it and be done with it. It's very easy to hang anything anywhere I want. You know, the paint, I can hose the walls down, keep it clean, touch up paint every once in a while, whatever we need to do. So that's my plan there. As far as other expenses go, I got $600 some into the form boards and stuff here, another $750, $800 I think it was into the mesh and all the rebar, the plumbing stuff. So like 30 years ago, there used to be a trailer, like a single wide trailer that was here between like that hedgerow and the well that's right there. And so there's already an existing well and a septic tank here, and that's part of why I chose this location, because we don't have a lot of soil, and something about a modern like raised bed septic just sounded way out of my price range. So we are utilizing the existing tank that's here and our well. So again, we're not very deep here, but we've got everything bed in insulation. So we dug right to the bedrock and then wrapped the pipe in like that slit foam insulation, which I don't have any out here right now, and then built the box around it with all this some of the scrap poly iso stuff that we had here. Taped it all up, and I put a heat tape on it. I hope to God I never have to have the heat tape, but it's here if we do ever have any issues with anything trying to freeze up. So we have our black poly well pipe coming up out of the ground for there, and because I didn't want our well wire exposed to the bare concrete down here, I do have that ran in poly pipe that I had to scrap, just kind of as like conduit, just to keep that from being bed in the concrete, because God forbid I ever have to replace it or something, you know, that'd be virtually impossible if that's in the concrete. So we got our toilet flange. This one is going to go to our sink, and I'm going to put a clean out right here in the wall. So that should take care of that. But looks like we got our concrete guys showing up now, so let's get started. All right, first truck's here. Guess they're gonna go through and pour the footer first and try to get some of the weight off everything so that it's not too much weight pushed down on the forms. Here we go. some water in that cup. Yeah. Want more water in it? Yeah, I bet you put more water. Making progress. We're getting the haunch filled up a little ways first. Just try to reduce some of the pressure pushing out on the forms. Second truck's already here. Making progress. Alright, we're sitting here getting ready to put the second power street on, or power trowel. I got the roughing one on there right now. He's putting the finishing blades on this, and we're going right to town. Starting to do our final finishing. We kind of wanted to go with I wanted to go with a burnt finish if we could, just more or less, just so that it's a nice smooth surface, so when we spill oil, that type of stuff, that it cleans up a little easier. And then there's going to be an 8-inch ICF block around the bottom 3 feet all the way around the outside, so kind of saved a little bit of finishing on the outside edge there.
It's pretty smooth. I have to say that is just about.
So I didn't get a lot of footage as we were pouring it. Just I didn't want to bother the guys that were doing it and stuff. But anyways, here she is. Pretty much all set. They're going to come back tomorrow morning first thing and put some saw cuts in it. Which, my opinion on that's kind of indifferent. It seems like every time I see concrete, it's not really broke at the saw joint, but you know, whatever. I think it'll look nice with the saw cuts in there. And yeah, they kind of tried to do a little bit more of a burnt finish on it, just so that it was nice and smooth. I was pretty adamant. I really wanted it as smooth as we can, just so when we spill oils and that type of stuff on it, that it can be wiped right up and nothing sinking into the ground, sinking into the concrete to where it's going to you know, be difficult to clean up and stuff. So a couple things I didn't go over earlier. So right here we have our toilet flange and our septic. I mean, I guess at this point it's the vent, but right here we're gonna have our handicap accessible bathroom, because I have to abide by ADA compliance since this is a commercial building here in our town. So we're going to have toilet here. We're going to have a sink here on the wall, so that'll drain into this. I'm going to have a pipe clean out on this side as well. And then this will be the sewer vent going up and out. This one here, our codes guy wanted us to put this in for radon. I don't really see where radon is going to be much of an issue, especially since we are going to have the two 12 by 10 doors here that are going to be open and shut constantly. But you know, if he's happy with $30 worth of PVC pipe there, then I'm okay with it too. So, and Cade's already got dirt on the new floor. But yeah, so anyways, electrical service is coming in here. Those two pipes that are over here, yep, that are over there, is some scrap poly well pipe I had, and we're using that to run internet through. And then the two coming up here is our line from our well, as well as I did not want the power supply for the well, like the wire, directly in the concrete in case it ever had to be replaced for whatever reason. So I used a piece of poly pipe just as a like somewhat conduit right there, just to get through the form boards. And then you know, and then it's direct burial from there. So yeah, anyways, they're gonna get this saw cut tomorrow. We have 2 tiers of ICF for a 3-foot wall going around the bottom, and then our pole barn's going to sit on that with sturdy wall brackets. So I will try to document the rest of this as this goes. I'm gonna get a little more water on this tonight, and yeah, we'll see how the saw cuts look tomorrow morning. Okay, here we go. The following morning, the concrete guys just left. They came and did the saw cuts this morning, so that's all done. Kind of swept everything down a little bit. I'll get out here with a floor scrubber and actually scrub everything nice and clean. But they are expecting the ICF blocks to get dropped off tomorrow or the following day. And then probably early next week, they're going to come and assemble. So we got 2 rows of ICF around the base here. So they'll give us a 3-foot wall. And then the building will be built 9 feet up from there. So that'll give us our 12-foot walls. And it'll take care of any, there'd be pretty much at that point no possibility of water intrusion, animal intrusion, anything that could ever bury underneath and get up from the bottom. That was part of the reason we decided to go the ICF route. It's a little bit more expense to do this, but you know, this I think in the end, I think we're gonna have a nice product. We took this one form off just so it was easy to kind of sweep, but they're saving the rest of this for me to strip just so it's kind of cut down on some cost a little bit. So we'll get my brother and a few others over here and borrow a friend's excavator, get some of this dug out. I took the tractor this morning and just used the bucket to kind of scoop back a little bit, which works, but then there's some spots that are like the forms were, or the braces here were so close together that, you know, I can't get the bucket in here. And I'm trying not to destroy their stuff so that they could be reused or whatever on another job. So anyways, I'm gonna get this off this week, try to get the 2-inch foam board on the vertical edge here done, and then get everything backfilled. The issue we run into is it's just rocks everywhere here because of being so close to the bedrock. I mean, here's a pile of stuff we've dug out. So that screen that my brother built a few years back, we've been using that a bunch, and it's kind of slow going because every bit of soil here is going to have to get screened before we can really backfill it. I mean, we just threw it in here now just temporarily. They wanted it backfilled against the form boards just because with the footer depth, there was, you know, 18 inches, especially in the back, of concrete pushing out on that form. So they just wanted a little bit extra security there. So, you know, we just kind of temporarily threw this stuff in here now, but now we need to go through and screen it all and then start getting our grade, you know, shaped from there. So overall, pretty happy with it. Pretty happy with the finish. You know, our electrical stuff, and this, like I said, is our where our internet's going to come up through. All of this is going to be right in the middle of the ICF, so that way, you know, this stuff will come up like this. The block will be there, and then this will be sticking straight up out of the top, so that when we form our wall or build our walls from there on up, it's yeah, we build the walls from here about here up. This will just be sticking up here, and it'll be already inside the wall, so that we can run, you know, anything that we need to. Just like the water line, I plan on running that up the wall, and then on top, so where our office is going to be, and then our bathroom here, I'll have a little bit of loft space up here, and so on top of that, I'll put the pressure tank and hot water heater and stuff, more or less just so it doesn't take up space in the bathroom, because I need the square footage for the handicap compliance, and then you know, it'll just save some floor space and stuff here too. So I think it's gonna work out pretty good. So I'll document the rest of the process as we go with the ICF, as well as starting to frame it, which at this point it looks like it's probably gonna fall on me. So yeah, thanks for tuning in.